Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your buddy Double D, and today we're going to be continuing our conversation about the division and tutorials, and we're going to be talking about min-maxing our stats. Now, when I say min-maxing our stats, I mean the main three stats that we have: primary DPS, health, and skill power. There are a bunch of secondary stats like critical hit, critical damage, things like that, but I have not been able to find out any information on what the soft cap is for that. But once I do, I will provide that to you in a separate video. So, real quick, what does min-maxing mean? Min-maxing means that once you get all of the gear that you have, that you want, rather, you see I've got a pretty decent gear set up here, you're actually going to continue a gear hunt to try and find little tweaks to your gear here and there that are going to increase your DPS. And it's not going to increase it by a whole lot. It's not going to be a giant jump, but you might go from 127 to 128,000 DPS. You know, little things here and there that are really going to add up to boost your DPS, boost your health, and boost your skill power. Now, the first thing that you need to know is, what do we do once we hit level 30? Well, once you hit level 30, depending on what your gear looks like and depending on, if you have some friends that have a little bit higher gear, your best bet is going to be to run into the dark zone. Get a group together, run into the dark zone, and just run through a couple of bosses and a couple of laps. I'll put up another video later on a good beginner route for the dark zone, and there are already tons of videos out there if you want to go ahead and look those up. But the reason you're going to want to do that is it's going to help you grind your Dark Zone rank, and it's also going to give you Dark Zone currency, and most importantly, blues and purples will drop, and a lot of them will drop. So you're going to get a good solid starter gear set right off the bat. Once you do that, and your DPS and your health and your skill power at a nice, they're high, you're not getting insta-melted by level 30 stuff, you're going to want to start running the daily missions. The daily hard modes are going to award you, I believe it's 15 Phoenix credits each. So you can get, anywhere for 30 to credits a day, not including the credits you get from bosses in and outside of the Dark Zone. There is a third option called the challenging mode, but that's very difficult, and unless you have some high-level friends that are willing to carry you through, being a freshly geared 30 is not a good thing to take into the challenging mode unless you're trying to really upset people and frustrate yourself. So, once you've gotten your gear and you started grinding Phoenix credits, it's time to figure out what the best course of action is for spending your Phoenix credits. So, let's go ahead and we're going to pop into our main base of operations so that we can figure out what we want to spend our credits on. And apparently you can't run through this. All right, there we go. We're running. So we're going to go straight up into the tech wing. We're going to talk to this guy right over here. Move. So, special gear vendor. This is the guy we want to talk to. He's going to have a lot of different things. He's going to have weapons. He's going to have more weapons. He's going to have purple gear. He's going to have yellow gear. All of that's good and dandy, but here's really what we want to be looking for. The blueprints. And you see, you can get all these different blueprints. The weapons tend to cost upwards of 160 plus Phoenix credits. Depending, attachments can run anywhere from 80 to 96, and then gear can run anywhere from 96 to 140. And the reason that we're going to want to spend all of our credits on this is because this is craftable stuff, and that's going to be very important for us min-maxing, and we'll get into that in just a second. My recommendation would be to find a good weapon, and that should be what you spend your first batch of Phoenix credits on, because that's going to be the most substantial DPS jump that you can find. Once you've done that, I ended up buying the Vector 45 ACP. After I bought the Vector 45 ACP, the next thing that I ended up buying was a blueprint for an extended magazine, because that is going to be, for your weapon, the biggest increase in DPS that you can find. So, after you've done that, now it's time to start looking at what your gear looks like and what you need to replace. So, for example, if you've got really high DPS and your health is hurting, maybe you want to find, let's see, that's a gear mod, stamina knee pads, for example. So stamina knee pads will automatically give you 470 to 575 stamina, along with random bonuses and random stats. So If your stamina is in a nice place and you need DPS, you're going to go all the way over down here and you're going to find some firearms stuff. And again, this is just going to give you a guaranteed boost to your firearm DPS and random bonuses and random talents. So this is kind of how you want to look at your stats and just determine what you're going to buy in what order. Now, the reason that we're going to buy these blueprints and the reason that it's so important for min-maxing our gear is because we are allowed to craft multiple versions of these things. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Vector 45 ACP, for example. The Vector 45 ACP that I have does towards the higher end damage that you can get. So you see on the left it says it'll craft it and it will have anywhere from 8,781 to 9,818 damage. And you see on the right hand side my damage is 9,554, so that was pretty good. The talent commanding every kill performed while signature skill is active extends its duration by 18.5%, stability is improved by 46%, and headshot kills with this weapon increase signature skill resources by 11%. Now those will vary depending on what you craft. The damage will vary and so will the talents. So basically, if I didn't have a good roll on this gun, I could craft another one and I could get a different roll and hopefully a better roll. And the same thing goes for my gear. So let's go ahead. We're going to pop down to, let's see, I'm trying to find some stuff. There we go. The knee pads, firearm knee pads. So I have, the ones that I have are pretty decent. They're firearm knee pads, and you can see I have 9.5 exotic damage resilience, blah, 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 all that stuff. So if I didn't like something that was on this piece of equipment, I could craft another one and get possibly better rolls. So basically that's why the crafted stuff is so important, because it allows you to craft, and find the best roll that you want. If you find yourself struggling for crafting materials, remember, you see on the map here, fabric, weapon parts, tools, all over the place where you have previously found crafting materials, those respawn, I believe it's every 2 hours, so you can go and you can pick those up. Also, don't forget, you don't have to sell your purples and your blues, you can break stuff down. Obviously, weapon parts are going to come from weapon, fabric is going to come from the equipment, we're going to get electronics from our mods, and we're going to get tools from our attachments. So that's just kind of, if you find yourself missing some tools or some electronics, that's where you get them. And as always, at the crafting station, you can actually, all the way down, convert. So you see I've got 8 blue weapon parts, but I need high-end weapon parts. Boom, converted, there's 1 extra weapon part, and so on and so on. Now, once you have done that, the next part for the Phoenix burning comes along. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say, but basically we're just going to spend a bunch of Phoenix credits, and we're going to need to unlock the recalibration station here. It's a tech wing unlock, and what this is going to allow us to do is re-roll our stats. And for any of you who are familiar with Diablo 3, this is the equivalent of Gadala. You can go and, not Gadala, sorry, the Enchantress, and she allows you to re-roll your stats. So let's take, for example, my agent holster. Okay, see, if it's a high end, you see down at the bottom it takes 48 Phoenix credits to reroll, 31 Phoenix credits to reroll, 30 Phoenix credits to reroll. So you're looking at a substantial credit sink here, but this is how you really start to min-max your gear. Let's take a look at my agent holster. So you see I have firearms, stamina, firearms, armor bonus, electronics, and turret duration. Now, let's see here. What are we going to do? I am running pulse, so if you hover over turret duration, I'm obviously not using turret. It brings up on the right hand side possible outcomes for this reroll, and if you scroll down, you see pulse critical hit damage. So I can get anywhere from 6.5 to 8% critical hit damage for my pulse. So we're going to hold down X, reroll that, and I got it, 7% critical hit damage. Very good. Now, just bear in mind, these are not guaranteed. you can go to re-roll and you can get something that you don't want. So sometimes you're going to have to continue to re-roll, and continuing to re-roll is going to increase the cost. But luckily, we got pulse critical hit damage. We're going to select that, confirm, and boom. So now also you see in the bottom left-hand corner, the recalibration cost has gone from 16,000 to 28,000. So that's just something to bear in mind. So once you've gotten all of your gear and you're looking to min-max your stats, crafted gear and recalibration station is the way to go. Just bear in mind it is going to require a substantial Phoenix credit supply. Anyways, I hope that helps you guys have a better idea of where you're supposed to go once you hit level 30. If it did, do me a favor, go ahead and thumbs up the video and subscribe for more Division content. I will see you guys in the next Division video. Double D out.